he works his ass off, man. With a player like that, he's only going to get better as time goes on. I mean, he's like Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. Russell Wilson works the same exact way.
Right.
So I see traits of that in him. I see traits of being prepared like Brady. Now, there's no way that he'll be at the level of those guys, No. I don't think.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think. I mean, he can will himself to be that way, but
But there was somebody else that you went back and watched footage of.
Yes.
And so you thought there was a comparison here.
There is a comparison. So I'm saying.
Christmas week, and we finally, Barrett Brooks, have a game to break down, and not only a game, but a win. And the Eagles get to 500, which they haven't been at since week 2. After losing to the Niners, they were 1-1. And from then on, they were below 500. So they've crawled back to 7-7 and are in a legitimate chase for the playoffs. Right now, sitting just behind Minnesota for that 7 seed. It looks like the Washington football team, now at 6-8, it's going to be a steep climb for them to come back. But what an interesting game last night, man! I'll tell you. It started out. I was thinking back to my old friend Neil Young, who said, "Rust never sleeps," and there was a lot of rust, and it wasn't sleeping for those 16 days or whatever it was since they played, and for Jalen Hurts even longer than that. I mean, he was really rusty at the start, and Goddard makes that play where, I didn't even know it was intercepted when they went to commercial. I thought it was just an incomplete pass, and they were going to be punting the ball away. And they come back from break, and the officials are on the field huddling, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, was there pass interference, or was that somehow a turnover? And sure enough, they show it, this freakish interception off the foot of Goddard, which wasn't Jalen Hurts' fault. And the next thing you know, the Redskins, I'm going to call them the Redskins today. Screw it. The Redskins were up 7-0. And the next time you turn around after a Jalen Hurts fumble, they're up 10-0. You're like, what the hell is going on?
You know what? When I saw the play, you couldn't see it go down to hit his foot.
Right.
But the guy that intercepted it
Landon
kept running.
Collins, yeah.
But I heard the whistle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I heard the whistle.
Should have been a touchdown, cool. Really. Yeah.
Yeah. It should have been a touchdown. Yeah. But I was like, oh, my God, I'm glad I heard the whistle. Because I'm sitting next to Mulhern. I said, man, I heard the whistle, man, so we're good. I heard the whistle. He said, what do you mean?
Mikey Mulls.
I said, man, that's an interception, man. That's an interception. He's like, no, it's not. The ball hit the ground. I said, no, it didn't hit the ground. It came up too fast to hit the ground. It bounced up way too fast. You see how fast it – boom. I was like, oh, man. So I'm glad I heard the whistle. Would stop the play right then and there, because it would have been a touchdown. It should have been a touchdown.
Right.
I was like, man, come on, man. And then the whole time, everybody in the office is talking about, here we go.
Yep.
Joe Webb again. Here we go. Joe Webb football game.
I had to tell my wife about the Joe Webb situation, because I said the exact same thing. I said, I think there's about 69,000 people in that building right now that are all muttering, Joe Webb, Joe Webb, Joe Webb. Yep. Here it is again. And she's like, who the hell is Joe Webb? So I had to tell her the whole story. And then it was 10-0. Hurts is fumbling, and he got torched by Sirianni coming off the sideline. You could see it just before they cut away to commercial. I'm like, man, he lit him up. And after that, the kid responded incredibly. You got to give him a lot of credit. He played a great game after that last night.
He's making a lot of non-believers believers.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it doesn't matter who's back there at quarterback when you have an offensive line that's running the ball like that. 7 straight games with 175 yards or more.
Right.
That's first they said the last person to do that was the Bears back in the Bears.
85.
Yeah. With Walter Payton.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Super Bowl. That's Super Bowl year, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
So not saying it's a Super Bowl. Stop.
Right. The 85 Bears did win the Super Bowl, but it was because of their defense. Okay. We don't have that kind of defense. So let's make that clear.
Well, there lies the problem.
Right.
Defensively, he's just not aggressive enough.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be more aggressive. I mean, there's no way that quarterback should have had any inkling that he had life to be out there and be on the same football field as those guys that were playing out there.
He actually acquitted himself well for being with the team for 2.5 days.
Because we allowed that to happen. We allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
Too much time to think, too much time to go out there and make plays. They got to be more aggressive. I don't care who's back there at quarterback. Mm-hmm. You got to play tighter defense. And until we start doing that, man, we're going to have too many close games like that.
I know.
Like, I was no way I thought we were going to lose it.
No, but it was a sweat. It was a sweat, right? You know, they got it to within 20-17, and then, the Eagles score, and then Washington comes back and scores again. And you're like, man, they just they won't go away because the Eagles defense almost didn't want them to go away in a weird way. But I'll tell you, Hurts, prior to, or let's just say, the 10-0. Okay, what he did up until it was 10-0, he was 4 for 6 for 51 yards and an interception, which wasn't his fault. Was sacked 2 times for -9 yards and a fumble lost, and that's when Sirianni torched him for being too careless with the football. After that, for the first half, he went 7 for 8 for 118 yards, ran the ball 4 times for 17 yards and a touchdown. I think Sirianni needs to yell at him more.
Yes,
that's just
exactly.
me. Okay. And I listened to the post-game press conference, and, that he said, he's a coach's son. He's used to being yelled at. Jalen said, I used to live with the guy who used to yell at me when I was young, so I'm pretty used to it and I respond to it. So there you go. He just gave you the open door. Let's coach this kid harder.
You want that, man. You want that, and real football players, guys that just eat, sleep, and breathe ball. That's what they want. They want the constructive criticism. They want to be told, what they're doing wrong. It's those prima donnas that really don't want to be as great as they want to be that you can't talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, say what you want to say. Guys like Jordan, guys like Shaq, they always wanted to be the best at their craft, so they worked at it. I don't see anything different from the way Jalen Hurts approaches the game than the superstar athletes. You know what I'm saying? He approaches the game like he is the guy. He approaches the game like he's the best quarterback in the league. And you got to approach the game like that. He prepares himself to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether he plays great on Sunday, it doesn't always transfer to the game. But, more good than bad gets transferred to the game. He works his ass off, man. And with a player like that, he's only going to get better as time goes on. He's like Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson works the same exact way.
Right.
So I see traits of that in him. I see traits of being prepared like Brady. Now, there's no way that he'll be at the level of those guys,
No,
I don't think.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think. I mean, he can will himself to be that way, but
But there was somebody else that you went back and watched footage of.
Yes.
And
so
you thought there was a comparison here.
There
right?
is a comparison. So I'm sitting back I'm thinking what quarterback could I compare him to that I saw play? And I mean, just looking at how he plays the game, Five played the game the same way. Five wasn't just this drop back quarterback. Mm-hmm. And that's when he had the most problems. That's when he was the most stagnant in his career, is when he wanted to be that stand in the pocket quarterback. When he got back to running around and making all those jukes and everything, that's when he was a dynamic player. That's when they were winning games and getting to the NFC Championship game. So, I see those same characteristics in him. The fact that he works harder, way harder than Five did.
Yeah, he probably does.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? McNabb, he works hard.
He works harder than Vic does, or Vic did too.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So, he is a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Forget the athlete. He is a quarterback that understands what he needs to do to be successful. Good players figure out what they do best. That's why Nick Sirianni is having some success right now. He's going back to doing what he does best, and that's running the ball.
Yeah.
Everything else will fall where it needs to fall. You told him he want a better drop back passer. That stuff will come once they keep, grooming him into being the quarterback that he needs to be.
Right.
It'll come.
Now, he missed an open Gainwell last night in the end zone, and he tried to get the ball to Devontae Smith in double coverage.
Yep.
I remember that. That was one where he didn't see it. They ended up having to settle for a field goal there. He probably wants that one back. But I thought he played a hell of a game last night. I really did. And he wasn't, and maybe it was because of the ankle injury. He wasn't so reliant on trying to run the football last night. he was content in going through progressions as best he could and getting the ball to Goddard, getting the ball out. And, they found Quez Watkins a couple of times, even got the ball, to Rager on that big wide receiver screen for 30+ yards that led to a score. So
he's Rager today. He's not Ray Gore. He's
Ray Gore. No, I'm sorry. It is Ray Gore. I misspoke. It's Ray Gore. Not Al Gore. It's Ray Gore. Okay.
Right.
But my point is he spread the ball around. In fact, on that one drive, the one that ended with a Ward touchdown, 19 yards. The prior play was to Ray Gore for a 34 and a wide receiver screen. Jordan Howard ran the ball. Stoll got a pass. Watkins got a pass. I mean, that was like spreading it out the entire roster except for Goddard and Smith. So he got a lot of people involved last night, and I credit the coach for that too. I thought he might have called his best game easily since the Atlanta game, in week 1, without question. And it's funny because what do those two games have in common? Last night's game and the Atlanta game.
What's that?
The coach had a lot of time to prepare. Leading into it. So I'm thinking like, he didn't show anything during preseason, but they were looking at Atlanta film for weeks and developing game plan and getting guys, they look fluid. They got the ball out. They got different guys involved. He had a lot of time to prepare for that day. Same thing. They had extra days to prepare even beyond the bye week for this game. And that's why you saw some little, wrinkles, like putting Slay out there on offense for one play. I mean,
right.
He's starting to look around the league and seeing these other things that other coaches are doing, and he's trying to incorporate it.
Well, you know what? Looking at how he approached this game, he said they had terrible practices
Thursday, Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
And that extra day allowed him to get back on track. So that makes a lot of sense once you say that. Now, to put the correlation together. Mm-hmm. But that's just a young coaching staff, getting into what they needed to do. They got to play better and they got to coach better. Gannon still has a long way to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He has a long way to go. But I like what Sirianni's doing. I like that this team are really involved with him. And remember we talked about, after the Giants game, how we needed more interaction on the sideline with Jalen Hurts. That's something you were supposed to focus on, you know what I'm saying? And you saw more interaction with Hurts in the game, in game type situations. He can't do it himself.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember Carson. Carson used to be sitting there by himself and nobody would come up to him. That's not cool. You know what I'm saying? He's the quarterback of the team. He needs to learn just as much as everybody else. He needs to get that little black book. Well, it's not black book anymore. So he needs to get in that Microsoft Touch also. Get him more involved. People need to get more involved in what's going on in the game. But man, you can see a major difference on how they're running offense because they were prepared. Number one, and number two, the only reason Hurts could go through his progressions is because he knew where those progressions were. He knew exactly where guys were going to be at. He didn't have to look around and look for them. He knew exactly where they were going to be. And that's that pre-snap read. That's preparation, which allowed him to do that.
Right.
He knew he had a wheel route over here that he could have gone to. He knew that he had a deep dig over here because, that's what's in the offense. We went through his checks and reads. You got to know where guys are in order to execute the offense. And he knew where everybody was his last game plan.
Yeah, and he probably had, he definitely had extra time to go back and probably self-scout, himself and, against the Giants, maybe even earlier in the season and sort of work on that kind of thing. So, the rust was shaken off early by the team because it looked really grim there to start the game, man. I'll tell you, I was like, wow. Well, this is the exact opposite of what you expected them to come out. And then you were starting to think, or at least I was, like, hey, maybe they just think they can just sort of roll the football out because it's Garrett Gilbert and they're just going to roll all over this team and Washington's going to just sort of tuck their tails and go home. And that wasn't the case.
No, you know what? Regardless of what they had on the offensive side of the ball, and that's where they had the most deficiencies as far as guys with COVID.
Their offensive line was really depleted.
Yeah, the offensive line, the quarterback position. Yeah. That defense was virtually intact, though.
It was.
They didn't have the starting middle linebacker. They didn't have Mayo, but everybody else was a starter that was out there.
Mm-hmm.
So those guys played well enough against a top-tier defense. That's one of the top defenses in the league. So everybody talking about, where do they go when they go against somebody that can stop the run? Well, that team is like the number 5 team as far as stopping the run, and all
coming
those
into
guys
that
were
game.
there.
Yeah, they were 5th in the league, right?
All those guys were there. So let's not worry about who can stop the run. We'll get to that when we get to it. If somebody does it. But right now, we ain't worried about it. I'm just worried about them going out there consistently running the ball like they've been doing it.
And sticking to it, sticking with that identity, because that offensive line last night, Kelsey was unbelievable last night. I mean, he's pretty much great every week, but last night it was almost like one of those like highlight reel kind of games for him. You know what I mean? Like when he gets put into the Hall of Fame, they need to roll some of the footage from last night's game. How about the play where he's out there, running right there with Sanders leading the way, and then Sanders went the wrong way, and at the end of the play, he's just like, dude, I gave you a touchdown, bro. Just follow me.
Cut off my block. Read my block, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray Gore did the same thing with Lane.
Yeah.
Lane's out there running. I mean, and those guys were toe for toe, step for step with those guys, man.
Yeah.
Talking about athletes.
It was amazing, and I thought Opeta did a really nice job. Filling in for Dickerson
a little bit.
Well, I know, but I mean, think about it.
For the most part, he had a good game.
I thought he was okay. Yes, Herbig, and that goes right back to Jeff Stoutland, man. I mean, this guy can get guys prepared.
He is unbelievable at getting guys prepared.
Really is.
Opeta was crushed. I mean, the last time I saw him out on the field.
Oh yeah,
he got dramatically better, drastically better.
Now Jordan Mailata had some sort of blips last night. How about the hold where he's out there leading the way on the left side, and he basically bear hugged this 215-pound guy? I'm like, he outweighs him by 160. Just stand in his way.
Yeah, you text me that. He just engulfed him, man. When you're that size, man, it's hard to. I mean, what was he supposed to do? Stop, pull him out of his chest, and then throw him somewhere. That was the only thing. He was hustling, man. So I didn't. I was like, you know what? Hey, it happens, man, because he's just so big. He just engulfed the guy, and he had. The ref didn't know what to do. He's like, what do I do? I mean, he's not really holding him because he didn't have him grabbed. He just had his arm. No,
he hugged him.
Right,
he kind of hugged him. Oh man, I thought there was a lot of entertaining stuff last night. I thought the O-line was great. Fletcher Cox had himself a game. He took advantage of a very depleted middle of that offensive line. I mean, you're talking about like a 4th string center.
Right.
He's going up against and backup guards. And, he had a big game. What do you have? 1.5 sacks, a couple of other big plays behind the line of scrimmage. He hit the quarterback a bunch of times. So he took advantage of what he was going up against.
Well, Fletch showed me the old Fletch, and it was good to see him. Welcome back to the party.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
When are we going to see it next?
Right.
Barrett, that's what I want to know. When's the next time? I mean,
he got a second sack. He got a sack and a half. So now he has 2.5 sacks for the season.
Is he good till January? Like, did he hit the quota for December? I'm just asking for a friend. But anyway, how about the possession to start the second half for the Eagles? It's 10-10, and prior to the end of the half, they got a break on a stupid hold on the kickoff return. Remember they had that long kickoff return, the Washington?
Yep.
And they would have been out about midfield, but it was one of the backup linebackers on special teams got called for holding.
Yep.
And it backed them up from what they would have been at the 48. And then they ended up starting at the 30. So that drive could have ended in points for Washington were it not for that hold. But the Eagles start off the second half with an unbelievable drive. I think it was like 6 plays, 75 yards, boom, 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 right down the field. Very impressive.
Everything was calculated. It's like they started over with the first 15 plays.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Back to back to back. It was the exact play call it should be at that time during that blitz or that type of play.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give it up to those young guys in the middle with Opeta and
Herbig.
Herbig.
Yeah.
Because Payne and Allen are probably the best tandem of 3 techniques and 1 techniques in the league.
They're legit. Yeah.
They're very legit. Yeah. So, they're blocking them, they're holding on for their dear life, and they play well enough for them to execute the offense. I thought that was going to be the only sore spot. And when I wrote my prediction up, that was my only sore spot that I'll be looking at and kind of cringing when I watched the game, because Payne and Allen could both guys from Alabama. can change the course of a game. They're that good.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean?
Ioannidis is a nice rotational guy in there.
Oh,
too,
yeah. He looked pretty good yesterday also.
Yep.
Very good.
Yeah, and then, of course, they have the lead 20-17 after Washington scored, and you're like, oh, boy, they're not going away. And then they put up that really nice drive to put it away at 27-17. So they started out the second half really well, took charge of the game, got a little bit threatened, and responded immediately with the next drive. So there's a lot to look forward to, or a lot to look back on and look forward to as a result for the next couple of weeks. Because this week, they get Jake from State Farm, at quarterback. You just add him to the list of backup quarterbacks that they've taken advantage of here just over the last couple of weeks. You go back to Trevor Siemian, Daniel Jones is, what he is. Zach Wilson is a rookie, and then they get Garrett Gilbert. Now they get Jake Fromm most likely this coming Sunday against the Giants.
Everything's lining up the way it's supposed to line up for us to make it to the playoffs. And I'm going to tell you the truth. If they keep on doing what they're doing, this is playoff football, neck roll football. Mm-hmm. You heard it here. This is neck roll football. I coined this phrase out in North Dakota, where they had a fullback that played running back. Number 44 looked just like Tom Rathman. With this is what I call neck roll football, because it's physicality. All we want to do is come hit you in the mouth. This is neck roll football the Eagles are playing. This is how you win in December when it's cold outside. Defensive players, they don't want to touch you. You start rolling them guys up. Time possession is in your hands. You're keeping the other quarterback off the field. This is what you call neck roll football. It's almost like it's 4-minute offense out there. Love it.
All right, now we have a situation. On the stream. Kevin Savard says at Harry Mayes, hey, that's my line.
What's that? What?
I think he's claiming neck roll football.
No.
Yeah, I think so. I think we have a situation.
I coined that phrase. That's all me. You didn't watch Friday night on ESPN2? North Dakota State versus JMU, James Madison University.
You coined that in Fargo, man.
Yes, in Fargo. I actually started talking about it back in probably 10 years ago. I was working at NFL Films, and I was watching, old film from back in the day. I was privy to all that stuff. And I started looking at Brian Cox, Tom Rathman, Ronnie Lott, all these guys that had neck rolls on their back of their pads. Yeah. Howie Long, with the shoulder pads barely on them, that hang it back so far. They all had neck rolls. So that's where I got neck rolls. All right.
Hold on. There's a development. There's an update. Kevin Savard says no. Jake from State Farm.
Oh yeah. That it is from him.
Okay, so let's go. Kevin Savard gets credit for Jake from State Farm.
Yes, he does have that. Yes. I remember it now. Yes, absolutely.
Well, you know what?
Gotta give you credit on
we
that.
need to hashtag that on some of our tweets regarding this game coming up this week. Whenever we talk about it on Twitter, we gotta hashtag it Jake from State Farm. Okay, because
Jake from. With two M's.
Right. Two M's. Correct. 2 M's. Let's see. He and his 72.2 quarterback rating from brief action last week. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Very brief.
What they look like. Because the Eagles are like a 10.5 point favorite at home.
Are they?
Against the Giants with Jake from State Farm.
It's one of those games. It's they got to go out there and redeem themselves. They lost to a team they shouldn't have lost to.
Yeah.
They did everything they could to get the game up, and they did. But the Giants, it wasn't like they were going out and taking it. We were handing it off to them. We handed 2 interceptions to them, deep interceptions to them. We handed off a fumble. We just gave the game to them.
Uh-oh.
What's that?
Here's more. This is a developing situation, Barrett. Back to neck roll football. Angry Al Bundy says you might have to argue with Ike Reese about apparently he's claiming neck roll football too.
Oh no.
Yes.
No. I go
Tone. Our friend Tone says Ike be like, quote, get my neck roll, end quote.
It doesn't matter. No.
Situation.
No. It's not a situation. I have always said neck roll football.
How can I stir this pot? All right, Because we're going to be off tomorrow and Friday. Apparently.
Yes, we're off tomorrow Friday, so we're going to replay
something
the show.
To stir. I need a pot to stir between now and the game.
This is my phrase, neck roll. You guys heard it on Friday. Neck roll football. I started out saying it. I've been saying it. I broke it down in NFL films.
All right, now there's more. There's questions being asked about why you're so far away from Ray Diddy, Joyner, and Barkan. John Shelton wants to know. You were back in your little corner last night.
Yeah, they put the baby in the corner again, man.
They need to give you a bigger desk. You're so big behind that desk. Like you got this little, like it's almost like something you had in high school. Like
right. I was the dunce. I messed up in class.
You're in detention.
You go sit over there, young man. You're not allowed to be with everybody else.
Right.
You go. This is like Thanksgiving. You go sit at the kids' table.
Right, you're at the kids' table.
Yeah. They put me at the kids' table.
It's bullshit.
It is, man. But it's that social distancing, man. I mean, they went back to strict rules. Whatever that governor says, NBC Sports.
Oh yeah,
they adhere by it, man.
Right.
Like I almost choked to death, because I had to have my mask on the entire time at work. And I'm like, there's like nobody for 30 feet from me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like 30 feet from me, and I still had to wear my mask inside the building.
Yeah,
I mean, people 30 feet. We're like social distance everywhere. We're in this big room, and guys are like. At the closest guy to somebody else is probably 12 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's just branched out and far away from each other. We still have to wear the mask throughout the day.
I woke up today and sneezed 3 times and thought about getting a test, and then I said, nah. I'm good.
Right.
Oh, man. All right, we're going to have – you think that we're – supportive of Jalen Hurts after last night's game, at least for 1 week. Wait till the guy that we have coming on at noon comes on. He is a huge Jalen Hurts honk, going way back to Alabama.
What? Oh, yes. That's right.
Nick Cale's going to join us at noon. He texted me, and I think he might have been all banged up last night watching the game because he actually did get the game. Remember I said he said he wasn't going to be able to watch it? Right. Apparently he was able to watch it. So he was watching it and texting me that I need to come on and give you some Jalen Hurts takes, and I'm like, okay, let's go. 12 o'clock. You don't have to ask me twice.
He doesn't know what he got himself into.
Exactly.
An hour later, he's still on the show.
That's right. All right, so we'll take a timeout. We'll be back with more analysis and breakdown. Got to look at the playoff picture, the future schedules, all that sort of thing, and we'll eventually get down to looking at just some of the other games this weekend because this weekend is shaping up to. They've got tons of really good matchups in the NFL. It's going to be good football. I just hope that this stupid virus doesn't cancel any of these games or postpone any of these games because I want Thursday night football. I want 2 games on Christmas Day. I want the rest of the games on Sunday and Monday to go off as scheduled. All right? From my lips to God's ears. Back in 3.